Hi, hello. Welcome back to my maker room. This is Marty. I wanted to talk with you about some new makeup releases, some things that are coming soon. There's a number of these. Lots of bigger channels do, certainly a great job, and there's been a ton of Valentine's Day releases. But wanted to talk with you about a couple of things that caught my eye. So first off, and I'll post some pictures. Lisa Eldridge, excuse me, um, got an email that they were sneak peeking something, a new, it looks like 6-pan palette. And the only description, it said meow. So I know they have a palette called Fawn, but the sneak peek said more to come or coming in May. So I'll be interested to see what that is. I've never purchased from Lisa Eldridge, but it is one of the brands that's on my radar for new makeup releases, new things to try. Another one that was sneak peeked was Glaminatrix. So it looks like kind of like a leather cover, and it says Fragments of the Self is kind of embossed on there. So the caption is, it's not about trends, it's about what lingers, what forms us, what never leaves. The first chapter of the collection. So likely there's going to be a whole bunch of things, maybe lipsticks and things like that as well. But it looks like a palette or some kind of vault. Other stuff. So there was a new release, the Angelic palette from Cosmic Brushes, and I did not purchase that one. A lot of people were talking about how it is smaller. It's only 12 pans as compared to the 20 that they usually are, and it's pastels and so forth. I've never purchased from Cosmic Brushes. If you've seen some of my other videos, the palette that's on my radar is the Smolder palette. And I've just been waiting because the shipping is so expensive to place an order. But one thing that was also released was from Beauty Bay. And so this is the Wanderscape. That's why I hopped on here, and I look kind of rough, but whatever. Wanderscape, the new kind of spring palette from Beauty Bay. And I thought when I ordered this that it was kind of more pastel. But first off, wanted to show you kind of the size. So this is the new one, and it's plastic. And this is the existing, one of the existing Beauty Bay palettes that I have. So a lot smaller for sure. But the other reason I wanted to kind of show you this, don't break it now, is it's not very pastel. Let me just do that real quick. And when I look at this one, you can kind of see the colors. Very purple, heavy shimmers to mattes. Try to get them both in. So we have blue, we have purple matte. I'm interested to do kind of a swatch comparison. Some of these shimmers do look lighter than, of course, the dark lights, but it could be one that very easily dupes. And I would say, not that I have the Angelic palette, that they're probably not the same, but of course, if you sheer out something like this, it can look pastel and so forth. Other stuff that I saw that I was interested in, Artitude Cosmetics. So they came out with Moonlit Muse, this whole collection, and it looks really, really pretty. Definitely kind of right up my alley in terms of color story of cool tones, kind of that smoky look. But they also had a 6-pan, or 5 or 6-pan, I'll put it up on the screen, of really, really shimmery iridescent shades. And curious about your thoughts on that. Like, when you purchase a palette and it also has like a companion palette, or palettes are sold in duos, so to speak. So, you know, kind of both pieces into the collection. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I have another example of it. I know it's a brand that people don't talk about, but I'll throw it up on the screen. It's Ensley Rain. It looks like they came out with a Nevermore and a Forevermore palette collection for Valentine's Day. Again, there's, you know, issues with the company, and I'm not planning on purchasing of it, but I kind of get annoyed when there's like two entire palettes that can be quite pricey in order to like launched at the same time. I don't mind if they're sister palettes or companion palettes and there's some time. I have purchased things like that in the past, but anyway, interested in your thoughts on releasing two at the same time. Like, do you feel like you have to choose one versus the other? Do you feel like you need both? How do you feel about it? Let me know in the comments. Another interesting indie brand is Ladybug Glow Cosmetics. So this one's been on my radar. I've never purchased from them. But it looks like they are sold through Etsy. But they came out with this new Floresta Inverno palette. So this is a winter forest after dark, deep violets, icy blues, jewel tone mattes, and glittering multi-dimensional shimmers. Really, really pretty, $48.99. And the color story is right up my alley. Aside from kind of that cobalt blue, I don't do well with blue eyeshadow. It just is really difficult to work with. In my opinion, it doesn't look that great on me. So whenever I look at a palette, I kind of take out the blues in my mind to say, like this one is, what is this, 10 pans? Really, I'm only going to get use out of 9, if that, at most. But some of the shimmers look really, really pretty. Really, the one towards the end has multiple shifts, it looks like, of purples and peaches even. Curious to see how that like swatches or how it really looks on the eye. Another launch that I saw on Instagram, there was this really cool campaign video and, you know, really interesting artwork and so forth. And that is the Noricorn Candy Puppet palette. But when I was watching the video, I was like, oh, wow, that looks really cool. I have already ordered that. So I guess that's a good sign that I'm going to like it again whenever I receive it. But that was new on C Beauty Mall, and the Instagram got me again, I got to tell you. One thing that I did see, brand called YIZHI, looks like, again, C Beauty brand. I'm not sure if that's Yeezy. That sounds like I'm saying it wrong. Please let me know. But they have a Cloud Garden collection, chameleon eyeshadow palette. It looks very beautiful, very spring-like for the season. So has some kind of murky, grungy mattes, it looks like, and a light pink, some nice shimmers, or hopefully duochromes, but just really the way it's put together, complementary, kind of grungy, but kind of girly. I really like the way that looks. Also, I spotted from Narimi this Purple Deadwood 8-color eyeshadow palette, and you'll start to kind of see a theme. I really love purple, pink. It's very up my alley. So this has kind of the murky yellows, some purples, tons of shimmer. And again, I think the Instagram and the probably Freya 86 could sell me a box of sand and call it makeup. So those are some of the ones that I wanted to talk with you about. There was also on v Cosmetics a palette that it looks very much like a contour kind of palette. It looks like something I've seen before, to be honest with you. But it's, the dark kind of muted colors. Good for a smoky eye. I'm sure that, I have those types of shades, especially I do 10,000 times over, because cool tones, gray tones, really, I got them all over the place. And then one big sparkly white. I'm sure that I have that. A couple of other things to note. I know that Viseart came out with something. There was like a apricot type of palette, but essentially I think there were 3 of them. And again, the struggle I have with Viseart, and it's one of my favorite brands for mattes. Their shimmers are just not very good. Their color stories kind of all look interchangeable. But let me know what you think about that. So again, it's like a release of 3 palettes. $44 each is it's not inexpensive by any means. And they keep kind of getting things smaller and smaller. But then it's like, which one do you choose? How much use are you going to get out of them when they release that much? Does it just, like, for me, sometimes I'm like, this is too much decision making. I'm just like going to ignore it all. And then there were a number of sales, and I found this interesting. So Adept Cosmetics, they got kind of roasted during Black Friday. I myself had been waiting to see what they were going to do for Black Friday, because there were a couple of palettes that I'd been interested in. So Adept, Cleona, and I just noticed Sydney Grace, as well as Sea Beauty Mall, all in the past week or so have had like 25, 30, 35% off different sales. And I'm interested in if it's some of them, some brands had stated, oh, well, we didn't have enough stock back during Black Friday. We wanted to ensure things were available. But I also think having a sale at like a different month in February is a way to not be competing for the dollars all around Black Friday and all of the other deals that were taking place at that time. And so it kind of extends or moves their sales season to stand out a little bit from the crowd. So it's just my little noodling, my conspiracy theory. But that said, I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Are you interested in any of these? Are there new beauty releases that kind of may slip into, under the radar? Obviously, there's some great ones from Gourmand Girls. Just had launched a kind of an anti-Valentine palette, and a couple of other brands. I am interested in them, but still just not quite ready. I don't think it's my perfect palette. But let me know what you're eyeing. Let me know what you're avoiding too. And, kind of what are your thoughts on, this situation being, markedly smaller, or the conversation about launching 2 or more palettes to complement each other at a time. What do you think about that from like a marketing or a consumer bias perspective? So thanks for joining me. Let me know what you think. Have a great day.